The silence was the product. That's what I told myself I was buying with my solitude. I've been up here for 62 days. Tower 4 was a 12 by 12 glass blister, perched 70 feet above the canopy of the Shoshone National Forest, accessible only by a steel staircase that screamed in the wind. My world was defined by the 4 cardinal directions and the Osborne Firefinder, a heavy circular, topographic map bolted to the center of the room. My routine was a liturgy of avoidance. 0600, wake up. The cot smelled of mildew and old wool. 0630, coffee, black, boiling hot, strong enough to numb the tongue. 0700, first scan. I walked the perimeter of the catwalk, binoculars pressed to my eyes, looking for the telltale gray smudge of smoke against the endless green. 0800, radio check-in with Sal at base camp. Tower 4 to base. Morning, Sal. Visibility clear. Humidity low. No smokes. Copy that, Jeff. Sal's voice would crackle back, warm and full of life. I didn't want any more. How's the view from the heavens? Quiet, Sal. Just quiet. I lied. It wasn't quiet. Inside my head, it was a cacophony. It had been 384 days since the accident. 384 days since the metal crunching impact on Highway 80, just outside of Cheyenne. I had come up here because I thought the altitude would thin out the memories, like oxygen. I thought if I could get high enough, I could leave the ghosts of Mary, Daniel, and Danny down at the sea level. But ghosts, it turns out, can climb. The shift happened on Tuesday evening. The sun had been choked out hours ago by a storm front that looked less like weather and more like a bruise spreading across the sky, a sickly, swirling purple banking against the granite peaks. The wind picked up, and the tower began to sway. It sounded like the skeletons of a massive beast stretching its joints. I sat at the small wooden desk, filling out the daily logbook. My hand shook as I wrote the date. Thanksgiving was tomorrow. The anniversary wasn't of their death, but of the trip. The last time we were a family. I reached for the radio handset. Base, this is Tower 4. Visibility is dropping fast. That front is moving quicker than the forecasted. Over. I waited for the squelch, the familiar static. Silence. Base, Tower 4, do you copy? Nothing, not even the hiss of an open channel. Just a dead, hollow void. I checked the cables. The solar battery was fully charged. The coax cable ran out of the wall intact. I tapped the receiver. Dead. And then the atmosphere in the glass box changed. It happened all at once. The air pressure dropped so sharply my ears popped. A wet, painful click. The hair on my arm stood up, prickling against my flannel shirt. The smell hit me next. Not the smell of rain or pine, but something metallic and sharp. Like old pennies held in a sweaty palm. Like ozone and blood. Then the noise started. It wasn't coming from the radio. It wasn't a sound I heard with my ears. It was a vibration, buzzing in the roots of my teeth, pressing against the base of my skull. I stood up, rubbing my temples. My coffee cup was skittering across the desk, vibrating from a force that wasn't the wind. I walked to the north window. It was pitch black out there. The storm had swallowed the moon. The forest below is an ocean of ink. The static spiked inside my head, violently. It feels like a knitting needle jammed into my ear canal. I stumbled back, grabbing the edge of the firefinder. It was rhythmic. Hiss, pop, hiss, like something breathing. I grabbed the heavy mag light from the wall mount. My palm was slick with cold sweat. I needed to verify. I was a rational man. I dealt in triangulation and burn rates. Monsters didn't exist. I aimed the flashlight through the glass and clicked it on. The beam cut a solid cone through the driving fog. I swept the light left, just trees thrashing in the wind. I swept the light right, wet rocks. I aimed it dead center down toward the clearing at the base of the tower. The static screamed in my skull, loud enough to blur my vision. I jerked the light away, panting. The noise instantly drops back to a low hum. I stood there, heart hammering against my ribs. I tested it. Slowly trembling, I moved the beam back to the center of the clearing. It was directional. Something down there, standing in the absolute darkness, is broadcasting this noise. And now that I was focused on it, under the layers of white noise, I heard something else. A wet, clicking rattle, like a throat full of fluid trying to take a breath. Don't go down there. The rational part of my brain screamed. Lock the door. Wait for the morning. But then I saw the flash. Down in the dark, caught in the halo of my flashlight, something glinted on the ground. It was bright blue, a piece of blue plastic, a Lego block. The air left my lungs. Daniel had been holding a blue Lego helicopter. He wouldn't let go of it. Even when they cut him out of the back seat, he was still holding it. Daniel? I whispered. I grabbed my rifle. I told myself it was for protection against bears or cougars, but I knew the truth. I wasn't going down there to defend myself. I was going down there to find them. I unlocked the heavy steel door. The wind ripped it from my hand, slamming it against the railing. The rain was freezing, stinging my face like needles. I stepped out onto the catwalk. The metal grating is slick with ice. I began the descent. Clang, clang, clang. My boots on the metal stairs were the only real sound in the world. The static got louder with every step. It was calling me. It was a siren song made of white noise. I reached the bottom. My boots sank in the wet pine needles. The silence down here is absolute. No crickets, no owls. The wind didn't even reach the forest floor. It was a vacuum, a dead zone. The smell of copper was overpowering now, coating the back of my throat with the taste of a battery. I raised the flashlight. The beam wavered. I walked toward the clearing, toward the source. 10 yards, 5 yards. Then I saw it. It wasn't a monster. It wasn't a ghost. It was a rupture. Between two ancient towering fir trees, the air was wrong. It was shimmering, twisting and refracting the flashlight beam like heat haze on a highway, but the air radiating from it is freezing. It was a distortion. I raised my rifle, but my arms felt like lead. The static shifted. It smoothed out. The harsh hiss warped, twisting into syllables. "Daddy, look at me." I froze. The rifle barrel dipped. My knees almost buckled. That was Daniel's voice. High, excited.
Jeff? Honey, you need a jacket. It's freezing out here.
Mary? The sound of her voice tore me open. It was so clear, so warm. It sounded like she was standing right behind the shimmering curtain of air. "Mary?" I whispered. The word was a jagged shard in my throat. "Boys?" The shimmering air pulsed, brighter now, hypnotic.
We're right here, Jeff. Just step through. It's warm in here.
I took a step. I couldn't help it. Every instinct of survival was screaming, "Run!" But the part of me that died on Highway 80 was screaming, "Home." I reached out. My fingertips brushed the edge of the warped air. The trap sprung. The cold hit me like a physical blow, an absolute zero that burned the skin off my hand. And the voice changed. It dropped an octave, distorting into a digital grinding roar. "Found you!" The static exploded, a physical slam that lifted me off my feet and threw me backward into the mud. The distortion isn't a door. It was a mouth. It was an anglerfish's light in the deep, dark ocean of the woods. I scrambled backward, crabbing through the dirt, gasping for air. The illusion was gone. The warmth was a lie. I scrambled to my feet and ran. I hit the stairs and clawed my way up, slipping, smashing my shins against the metal steps. I didn't look back. I could feel the gaze of the thing burning into my spine. I threw myself into the tower and slammed the heavy steel door and engaged the deadbolt. I backed away, chest heaving, collapsing against the desk. "I'm safe," I wheezed. "I'm safe. I'm inside the box." The hair on my neck stood up. The radio. The dead radio with the severed power cord. The green power light just flickered on. Sounds began to pour from the speaker. It wasn't static. It wasn't audio. High fidelity.
I told you we should have left earlier.
Mary's voice said, sharp, annoyed. "I was working, Mary. I can't just walk out." My voice snapped back, arrogant, angry. I stopped breathing. My hands flew to my ears, but I couldn't block it out. The volume was rising, vibrating the glass walls.
You're always working. It's Thanksgiving, Jeff. The boys wanted to see you.
I am sitting right here. I'm driving the damn car. Is that not enough for you people? I was screaming at the radio now. Stop it! That's not how it happened. It was the rain. It was the truck. It was an accident. Daddy, stop yelling. Daniel whimpers from the back seat. Please stop.
Jeff, slow down. You're scaring them.
I'm fine. Stop trying to control everything. If you hadn't...
Jeff, look at the road. Jeff!
The sound of twisting metal and shattering glass filled the cabin. Then the silence. The hiss of a radiator. The dripping of fluids. And the soft, wet sound of me breathing while they didn't. I fell to my knees. The radio wasn't looping the accident. It was looping my sin. It wasn't the wet road. It wasn't a blown tire. It was me. I had turned around to shout at her. I'd taken my eyes off the road to win a fight about nothing. I killed him because I was too proud to let an argument go. I killed him because I wanted the last word. The sound wasn't coming from the radio anymore. I turned around, slowly. The sound was coming from the front door. I looked at the heavy steel door. There was a small, reinforced glass window in it, set at eye level. There was a face pressed against the glass. It was gray. It was smooth, unfinished clay. It has no eyes, just shallow, thumbprint depressions where sockets should be. But the mouth was unhinged, open in an impossible, vertical scream that stretches past where the jawbone should be. And pouring out of the mouth was the truth. The doorknob turns. The deadbolt, the one I had just engaged, slid back by itself. I didn't back away this time. I stayed on my knees. I realized now why I came to Tower 4. I didn't come here to heal. I came here to be punished. The silence wasn't a comfort. It was a courtroom, and the verdict was in. The lock broke. The door swung open. The fog rolled in, thick and freezing. The static was deafening, and through the noise, Mary's voice whispers. It wasn't warm this time. It was cold. Freezing, bitter cold.
You didn't look away, Jeff. You looked at me. You chose to be right instead of keeping us safe.
The gray figure stepped into the room. It reached out a hand that vibrates with the white noise of a dead channel. I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I looked at the empty space where its eyes should be, and I nodded. I know. I whisper. I'm sorry. The static swallowed the room, and for the first time in 384 days, I finally got what I deserved.